Shalom. First and foremost, only give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh. Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity. Scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth to you, I say Shalom, Lord willing. This video is edifying. It's going to be sent around this article by CBSnews.com, and it's going into how there was recently a cyber attack that took place here in the state of California in a city called Tucson City. All right, Tucson City's City Hall to remain closed through the week after malware attack. Right, so another cyber attack. I remember during the time of COVID or around that time, 2020, 2021, there was a bunch of cyber attacks on different institutions and shit, and it seems like, we're circling back to similar events. All right. Now, through the spirit, I was been coming across a lot of cyber attack videos all through the spirit, and the guy was pretty much talking about how when these cyber attacks begin to happen, and he already believed that they were, and he obviously is right, that it will be a gradual collapse in your everyday infrastructural way of living. Right, so whether that's your 911 operating ability, whether that's your water being cleaned at the water treatment facilities, or your power going out in certain areas, or Wi-Fi, whatever it is, right? It's going to be gradual, and it's going to be something that breaks down more and more over time. Okay, a Northern California city held another emergency meeting Tuesday, days after a malware attack disrupted public safety systems and other city operations. Right, so crippled the city. All right, they had to call a state of emergency. Okay, Tucson City leaders met at 8 a.m. for a special session that included a closed-door portion. Officials decided that the city hall will stay closed for the rest of the week as the city deals with the issue, right, because it's ongoing. They were hacked. Okay, we're trying to understand exactly what happened. If you're coming in to try to pay your water bill in cash, or trying to pull a permit for a building, or trying to get a business license today, those operations are down. So expect different things like this to continue to happen, especially in these small towns, all right? Because the way the guy was breaking it down, who was the cyber security expert, he was breaking it down that as these attacks begin, the weaker areas, right, are going to be the most vulnerable compared to major cities, okay, with more complicated, systems, all right? So, a city official said malicious software infected its IT systems Friday morning, affecting 911 routing, police and fire dispatch records, and other city services. Okay, so these are pretty much emergency services. This is vital to a society and its functionality of it, right? So these things are going to continue to happen, okay? Because the Lord is getting ready to use Esau to shut this thing down. Man, he's about to shut it down. Okay, all of this internet, all of the information that's you're receiving or being able to see is going to be shut down, and people are going to lose their mind when there's no consequence of repercussions for a wrongdoing. People are going to go crazy. All right, this society is built for it. All right, this is Job 15 or Job 18:5. Yea, the light of the wicked shall be put out, and the spark of his fire shall not shine. Right. So this man's way of running things is about to be put out. Okay, his technology is about to be rendered useless because it's all about to take a ginormous step back, especially if an EMP goes out. Okay, and if his systems are being hacked into, he's not going to be able to provide this, way of living that's keeping everybody comfortable. Okay, he's not going to be able to do the things in which people have trusted him to do for so long. They became dependent off of these different but very fragile systems of convenience. Okay, and the Lord's about to put an end to that. And people are going to be left to suffer tremendously because of it. All right? Because they don't know how else to live. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 18. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils come? Right, and these evils are here. Okay? These cyber attacks, these different power outages, these different things that are happening are all going to contribute to a famine. They're all going to contribute to civil disorder, domestic disputes, okay, great death. All right, because if cyber attack happens and it hacks a logistics and transportation company, a major one. Now you got these different truckers not knowing their routes now. Now they can't get to their destination to bring you your food or wherever it is, your medicine. Okay? So these things are going to cause a lot of problems as they continue to increase. Behold, famine and plague and tribulation are anguish are sent as scourges for a moment. But for all these they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be mindful of their scourges, is right. So, regardless of all these things happening, people still ain't gonna repent. They're not gonna even, a lot of people gonna ignore it until the very, very end, till they can't. Till somebody kicking in their door. All right? Till this days without these things turning back on. Okay? Till there isn't a response for it. To where it becomes so normal, it's not even news. All right? That's when it's going to get ugly. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown, and full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, because these malware attacks and software attacks they're gonna fuck everything up, man. They're gonna do the trick. Okay? A lot of ways, how are they going to price things if they don't have these systems, right? How are they going to know what they sold? Inventory's deleted, right? This is going to cause a lot of chaos, okay? And people are going to become more and more uncomfortable as these things continue to happen. And the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, he shall suddenly be afraid, right? Because they're going to, when these things start happening, people are going to ask questions, and they're not going to like the answers. The answers are going to be startling, okay? They're going to realize that they're in pitiful case. That they're at the mercy of the Lord, okay? At that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountains shall stand still, and in 3 hours it shall not run, right? So there's gonna be a famine. There's gonna be a want for things. Okay? There's gonna be a want for all things, especially this truth, especially a man of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Okay, and friends are gonna turn to fight against each other because they're gonna be desperate, and at the same time they're gonna have the scoop on each other. He's gonna know that fucking Bob was prepping. Was preparing for days like this. He gonna know that Jimmy got a generator, okay, that he's using to keep his house warm while his family's out there starving and all fucked up. People are gonna break, man. They're gonna crash out. Okay, this is 2 Ezra 15 and 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Right, this is going to provoke, potentially a revolution. Okay, provoke a civil war to say the least. Okay, because people are going to blame their government. Wait till the draft comes. On top of that, right? People are going to lose it, man. All right? And they're going to not be fearful of losing this way of living because it's going to deteriorate drastically. The dollar is going to be affected. Okay? So the purchasing power is just going to continue to decrease. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. And this was a prelude to exactly that happening. All right? Because they didn't have access to emergency services like 911 and shit like that. Now imagine if this was to continue, or if this was on a more massive of a scale. Because I believe in this case, the cities just rerouted their 911 calls to other cities to kind of get the calls out and be able to keep everything going. But what if it's countywide, Then what? And what if it's for days, it's prolonged? It's going to get crazy. All right, so with that, I give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Shema, Shabbat, Shem, Rakaka, Gashwa, Baba, and DTA, DTN.